is Friday, October 10th, 2025 here with Farah Hannoun and Mike Bohn, another live chat here on the Bohn and Farah YouTube channel. Farah, how are we doing?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. I'm still recovering from 8 days in Las Vegas. Never again. That was too much.
I can see the heat in your face.
I know it's a lot tired. Just got a little sick on the last day, but it's good to be home. I'm in Vancouver now and just waiting for UFC Vancouver Fight Week. I do not feel the buzz in the air quite yet.
I don't know. You've had worse Canadian cards, I'll say that.
We have. The only thing in the air right now is a significant amount of rain outside. So it's an indoor Friday, but yeah, UFC Rio Fight Week. We just finished up the ceremonial weigh-ins a few minutes ago. Did you get a chance to see those face-offs?
I saw the main event one. Yeah, I saw that one.
That was a good one.
Intense. Yeah, pretty intense. Respectful, but pretty intense.
Yeah, it seems like these guys. I mean, Gamrot always kind of has that energy, and Oliveira, you can see he's extremely fired up to be back in Brazil. I guess let's just start there. What have you made of this fight week? We're not on site for MMA Junkie, but we still see the stuff coming through. Is there anything? I know it's kind of a broad question that like caught your attention that maybe you weren't like noticing as much coming into the week.
Not necessarily. Like I knew Charles was going to be like pumped up. I think it's perfect for him to be fighting in Brazil, like coming off of that loss to Ilia Topuria. Like anywhere else, I don't know how I would have felt in general about the quick turnaround. He seems like we saw on not the countdown, that thing they do on ESPN Plus, The Journey. Yeah, he was. His coach was Diego Lima was talking about it. How Charles just really wanted to make a quick turnaround. I think he wants to take that bad taste out of his mouth. He's never been knocked out clean like that before. So it's a risky move. Like we're obviously going to see how it's going to play out. But Gamrot, I guess, is the perfect opponent for him if we're talking about, because you look at the top of the lightweight division, he's fought a lot of them, like especially with Dustin, Justin, Michael Chan. All those guys pack so much power in their punches. And even his original opponent, Rafael Fiziev, like kicks like a mule, and he throws with ill intent every single time. So maybe Gamrot, and I'm not saying that, I picked Gamrot and we'll get to that later, but I'm just saying like in terms of damage and the concern that we have over the quick turnaround, Gamrot's probably the best case scenario for him.
Yeah, I think so. Although we did have, and I know it's biased, Dustin Poirier on the show, and he was saying like, don't underestimate this guy's hands. Like Gamrot's come a long way with the boxing. Obviously, been training, at ATT for a long time now. So I don't know. Like, would that be still the most surprising result for you if like Gamrot was able to do something standing in this?
You know what this reminds me of? It's like when Beneil Dariush was matched up against Renato Moicano. I'm like, okay, this is good for him. And I think Beneil is one of top 5, top 7 grapplers in the entire UFC. Very, very underrated grappler. So as good as Moicano is, I knew that this matchup was good for Beneil. But he ends up getting knocked down in round 1. So that's, I kind of think of that when I look at this fight. Like, yeah, Gamrot's going to push forward. He probably feels like, I know, we're not going to like write off Charles Oliveira from one. I mean, Ilia Topuria knocks everybody, even knocked out Max Holloway, who no one was able to do, right? So I guess no shame in that, but he has taken quite a bit of damage in the knockdowns. I don't know how hurt he was. Charles strikes me as a guy that just doesn't seem to have a problem being on his back. And I'm not saying those weren't legit knockdowns. I just don't know how hurt he was in those knockdowns. So he tends to get dropped a lot. And obviously the wear and tear over the years of the types of fights he's in, most prolific finisher, submission wins, bonuses, all those stats he's got. So yeah, I mean, is it impossible for Gamrot to knock him down? No, but I just think that Oliveira's probably going to feel a lot more comfortable on the feet, and he's a way more diverse striker as well, the knees and the kicks and everything.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll be curious to see if there is any hesitation with Charles's approach, like on the feet, or if he tries to go grappling heavy. I mean, we saw him against Michael Chandler have some good takedowns in that fight. So I'm curious if he tries to neutralize the risk or if he just brings extreme confidence. I mean, 17-0 fighting in Brazil, 7-0 in the UFC, I think 6 bonuses. So he's got to have all that confidence with him. But I don't know, like I don't know how many of his submissions really come from on top too. Like he's more of a snatch the neck guy or jump on you when you're hurt. So if this actually gets into prolonged grappling exchanges, I do think that might favor Gamrot. And I think that's probably why a lot of people are giving him the edge in this fight.
Yeah, because you don't, at the end of the day, when you fight Mateus Gamrot, you don't want to be on your back. That's the one place you don't want to be. But with Charles, He's very confident in his jiu-jitsu, so I don't think he's necessarily going to mind the fight going there. Granted, I think he should try and keep it up on the feet, but I think first 2 minutes will be very telling if he can land the bigger shots and get Mateus to kind of panic shoot. I think that will build his confidence a lot and be able to gauge the timing of Mateus's entrances. But we know, like Gamrot, we've heard what he said. You know, he's very confident that he can take him down. He said he's tapped out, and you can help me out with the stats, like 8 or 9 times before in his career. Like, I know Gamrot isn't like a finisher, but he just feels like the blueprint is there. Like, we all know what he wants to go out there and do. And, you know, Charles does have a tendency of getting taken down at times. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Who do you think has more pressure on them to win this fight? Like, you know, Gamrot, he's had his struggles to get these big fights. He's, you know, not gotten over the hump a couple times when he's had it. This probably, you know, this wasn't coming his way. He was going to fight like Nazim Sadykhov in a main event at the Apex, right? Like, that's where his career was going. You don't know what type of opportunity he'll get again. And then, you know, we obviously know where Charles is. I'm sure he has aspirations of greatness still too. Maybe, I don't know. He says in one interview to Danny Segura that like, he don't talk to me about retirement. Why are people asking about this? And then like does an interview with Shaquille Majuri is like, I want Max Holloway for my final fight. So I'm not really sure where his mind at. So who do you think has the more pressure to win between these two?
It's a good question, but with Charles flip-flopping in terms of where he's at, I think it's a lot is gonna like come down to whether he wins or not. Because Charles, at the end of the day, is a big name, and he can get big fights. He can land on pay-per-view main cards. He can headline fight nights in Brazil. Like, it's not impossible for Charles to continue to get big fights. Whereas Mateus, like, looking at the landscape of 50, who knows what Ilia Topuria is going to do? Is he going to stick around? Is he going to jump another weight class and whatnot? So there's a little bit of uncertainty at 155 where Gamrot can be a player at some point down the line. Granted, like you mentioned, this is a big fight for him. I know people are going to look back and say he has a win over Arman Tsarukyan. But so, yeah, I don't think I think it's more pressure on Charles, because for him, I think if he beats Gamrot, it's the BMF title fight with Max Holloway, not even in a retirement sense. I just think that's the route to go, because I know he said in another interview, I don't know where, that he wants to be champion again, like actual UFC champion. So I don't know. He's all over the place clearly. So I'd say more pressure on Charles.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, or where his mind is at. I mean, this turnaround is already so concerning, and you know, I almost feel bad for Gamrot, because if he goes in there and like he does knock him out or something, people aren't going to say Gamrot's improved on the feet. They're going to say Charles has no chin and made the turnaround too quick. So it's almost like a lose-lose in that regard. So I feel like if you're Gamrot, it would almost be more quality if you're able to submit him or, you know, win over the course of 5 rounds or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you go out there and you dominate Charles Oliveira for 5 rounds, that's impressive, regardless of what form you think Oliveira is at right now, because Oliveira has so many more ways to win the fight than Gamrot does when you look at the overall skill set. So if Gamrot's able to go out there and repeatedly take him down and evade any danger in terms of Charles' submission game, then of course it's going to be extremely impressive. Because what is the one thing we say with Ilia Topuria that hasn't really been tested? Him being grappled. And everybody points out, Bryce Mitchell took him down and controlled him for 1 minute and 20 seconds. Because you nitpick, right? When someone's so dominant and perfect, you nitpick. So that's the one area. And that's why a lot of people feel like Arman is the toughest test for Ilia, because they say we've never seen him defensively like have to grapple. And obviously Mateus brings a heavy pace, and he's relentless, and he doesn't care if he misses on like second, third, fourth attempt, like he'll keep coming. So if he can go out there and show that kind of performance against Oliveira, that'll help him a lot in terms of leapfrogging other contenders.
Yeah, well, I'm very curious. Mateus is just gonna have to be so careful in this fight, especially when he's shooting for those takedowns. Like, you leave your neck in there, and we know the deal. The man with the most submission wins in UFC history, Charles Oliveira. My bookie right now on the eve of fight night, it's basically a pick 'em, -115 for Gamrot, -106 for Oliveira. So this is very, very close. I know Gamrot, I think earlier in the week, was a bigger favorite, but it seems some late faith in Oliveira has come in.
Yeah, it's always recency bias. You look at, I mean, it's Ilia Topuria who you lost to, but like you look at that and you wonder, and everyone's concerned about the quick turnaround as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked by the odds. I mean, all of this aside, you would think it's disrespectful to Charles, but considering the circumstances, I get why.
Yeah, there we go. We have one comment from MGal4 Productions who thinks that Gamrot is winning this fight by knockout. So we shall see. This is a very good main event. Lightweight fights, always quality there. You said you think BMF next if Oliveira wins. What about Gamrot? Where does he fit if he wins this?
Well, yeah, it's gonna like depend on the manner that he wins. Like if this is a close split decision that people disagree with or whatnot, or if he's gonna get hurt a lot and stuff, then people are gonna say like, "Oh, Oliver's washed. He's not the same," and Gamrot couldn't do anything against him. So I think it's really gonna depend on how he wins. If he goes out there and finishes him or dominates him, I think that propels him pretty high up. Like I'll take a look at the rankings now, but I think as Ilya, like. There are various guys who are waiting for Ilya. I mean, I don't know if it's Justin Gaethje that's going to get it. Holloway's got the BMF title. I mean, he just fought Ilya recently. Arman should be the guy, but he's fighting Dan Hooker. So, yeah, I mean, Paddy Pimblett's out there. He gets one of those big fights because what are you going to do with everybody else, right? Like, if it is Justin getting the title shot, what do you do with Paddy Pimblett? He's going to have to fight somebody. But if Mateos goes out there and dominates Charles, throw him against and you know what, I mean, if Charles gives us a vintage performance and doesn't go the BMF route, give him Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. It's all gonna break. We're just waiting to see. It sounds like Ilya is gonna fight probably in January on the first Paramount card, and who the opponent is gonna be. Obviously, Arman is out of the running as of now with his fight against Hooker. I don't imagine he would turn around if he does win. So I really don't know. I keep hearing things on both sides, to be honest. Like I've heard Gaethje, I've heard Paddy. I really don't know which way it's going to break. What does your gut say?
I was thinking Paddy for a while, but then like Gaethje's not getting booked, and I'm just like, yeah. After they did Dan Hooker and Arman Sarukian, because Arman said that Gaethje turned him down. I mean, those are he's claiming that. So that means the UFC it is his definition by Gaethje turned me down, him telling the UFC, I'll take Hooker or Gaethje. All right, here's Hooker. Or is it they offered Justin Gaethje and Gaethje turned it down? Obviously, you're going to wait to hear from Justin Gaethje. So we don't know what he means by that exactly. But if the UFC really did try to make Justin Gaethje and Arman Sarukian, that means we know what direction they wanted to go. And UFC don't usually like when guys turn down fights. So I'm not ready to believe that entirely. But we did hear Justin say all that stuff way back. Mm-hmm. He did allude to if they really pay me, then I'll accept taking another fight, but a title fight. But I don't know. I was thinking Paddy because of the Paramount deal. Like you want to go big, right? No offense to Justin Gaethje, it just doesn't feel like that's going big. That's literally going the one route that nobody wanted, except like the diehard Justin Gaethje fans that want to see him get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a fun fight, all that stuff, but I'm more intrigued by Paddy. And I know, like, maybe Paddy's nowhere near that level and, not as good as people think or what he showed against Chandler, but that's what I worry about if you don't do the fight. I mean, you put Paddy against someone else and he loses, then you're in a bit of a difficult spot and he kind of loses his luster. So it's going to be a big decision to make for them. And I don't know when we're going to start hearing about that. It's got to be sooner than later, but we still don't have the December title fights or anything set for that card. So I'm waiting, but any hunch what you think is going to headline the final pay-per-view? It feels like Pantoja versus Van is clear.
Volkanovski? Maybe Volkanovski. I don't know. I mean, what it was trending towards Volkanovski and Lerone Murphy. It seemed like it. He's down and then all of a sudden he's like, it's a 4-man race. Could be anyone, but I don't really know what the UFC in particular, if they have a preference. Like what? I mean, Diego Lopez rematch. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like they might be going to Sydney in February, and they might want to hold Volk for that because he hasn't got a fight there in a while. Which I don't know. Merab, are we doing the Merab versus Jan fight in December? I mean, it's right there in front of you. That seems like an easy thing to do. You do those two flyweight and bantamweight title fights, and that's how you close the ESPN era.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, after hearing what Khalil Roundtree said about Merab sparring 5 full rounds on fight day, I mean, at this point, like, you could book Merab on the Rio card and I wouldn't be surprised. So, yeah.
How crazy is that story? I'm mad John Wood didn't bring it up when we did the podcast this week. I was in the gym and everything, and he was telling me how they did the weight cut different and all this stuff, but he left that minor detail out. But apparently we saw that he did 10 rounds before the O'Malley fight. I just saw now someone say. I think Helen Yee
on fight day as well.
Apparently, I think he just told Helen Yee that.
So this is nothing special. So I should scrap that story I wrote earlier.
I
Just
mean,
another day.
it's still pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the more rounds he does, the easier the fight gets since he submitted Sean so quickly. So I don't really know. Okay, let's stick on Rio for a couple more minutes here. Two other big fights really there, in my opinion. Co-main event, Davidson Figueiredo and Montel Jackson. Are you surprised Figueiredo's back this soon after the knee thing with Corey Sandhagen in his last fight? Like, do you feel like does this feel rushed to you?
Yes and no, because I guess I don't know if it's their excitement of wanting to compete at home, or maybe the UFC's pressure a little bit of they want to make because when's the last time they've been to Rio?
Oh
I don't know.
God, I think weren't they there like 2 years ago? I think.
Okay, but that's quite a while. If
Yeah.
you live in Rio, that's gonna feel like forever. I mean, look at Abu Dhabi. I get like two events a year, and I'm like a bit annoyed about 321. Like I'm spoiled, right? So it's been 2 years for them. So they want to
It was
get
1 year. They were there May 2024 for Pantoja versus Ursig.
Right. Yeah, 301. Oh, yeah. Pay-per-view for my bad. But yeah, I mean, I think UFC probably wanted to get a couple of big names. Obviously, Figueiredo's a former 2-time UFC flyweight champion, so I don't know how much they pressured him as much as I guess if he's out there competing. And look, Montel Jackson's a risky fight, so he's got to be healthy and ready. I highly doubt he's not 100% because you have a lot to losing it to a guy like Montel Jackson, who's really good. What is it, 11 knockdowns, most in bantamweight history? I think highest takedown accuracy. Yeah, as well. Is that it?
Crazy 75.5-inch reach for a bantamweight, which is bonkers.
Yeah, so it's like very tough stylistic matchup. The takedown accuracies there, knockdowns are there. Relatively unknown, like as dark of a horse you could think of when you think of like guys like who talks about Montel Jackson and bantamweight? Nobody. No. So it's like, yeah, so a lot to lose if you're going to lose to Montel Jackson at home. So he's got to be 100%. And I was just listening to an interview he did with UFC News, and he was saying like, if I beat Montel, like I want a title shot. He's like, he's on a 2-fight losing skid, but I think his argument was that Merab has wins over the top 4 contenders. You go down to number 5, it's Song Yadong. You go to number 6, it's Davidson Figueiredo. So if he's looking for fresh blood, not the worst idea in the world, but obviously Umar Nurmagomedov's out there, Mario Batista, if he beats Umar and all that.
Yeah. I see your questions and comments there, guys. Appreciate everyone joining us. I'll get to a few of them shortly here. Just want to talk about this last UFC Rio fight and can circle back to some of the comments about Gamrot and the title picture. Vicente Luque and Joel Alvarez. I mean, Alvarez moving up to welterweight. I feel like that's been a long time coming. And then I don't really know what Vicente Luque is anymore. I mean, he's obviously had a great career and, some of the most finishes in welterweight history. I think he has the 3rd most wins in welterweight history, or 4th most. So like he's put together a run, but ever since he had the brain bleed incident and the time off, he just hasn't felt like the same guy to me. And I feel like if he loses this one, that puts him in a real tough spot. He's probably outside the rankings and looking very much in for a while.
No, I agree 100%. Like, this is a guy who had so much potential. That was the dark horse of welterweight at one point, and notching those wins and finishes and doing it so impressively. I remember he had that win streak, but obviously a bit of inconsistency as of late, and fighting a guy who's supposed to be a lightweight, but it's got 22 of 22 finishes. Like, what? That's just crazy. That's a stat I completely overlooked. Like, I always knew Joel Alvarez was a finisher, but I didn't know he finished 22 of his 22 professional wins. That's absolutely absurd. Like 17 of them by submission, although we look at him as a striker. But he's kind of like Luque, actually. A striker, but an opportunist when it comes to the submission. So very, very fun fight. But Luque, I was listening to his interview with UFC News, and he's like, he's warning Alvarez that the power is different at welterweight. So sounds like they want to stand and bang, and could be someone gets dropped and whips up a submission. That's how I see it. But I did pick Alvarez just because I just don't know where Vicente Luque's at, and Alvarez looks good in the welterweight frame. He's massive lightweight. I don't even know how he ever made 55, and he's missed weight a couple times, right?
Yeah, he has. I'm looking at the face-off image I pulled right now, and like he's quite a bit bigger than Luque. It's terrifying.
Yeah, if he finishes, which obviously seems like, I don't know what the exact odds are, but I assume would be really high if he's a favorite since he finished every fight in his career. I think he should stick around at welterweight for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this is a spot. So that'll be an interesting one. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all the meat on the bone I see for Rio. There's some other fights there. I don't know if this will be Karolina Kovačević's like career finale or whatever, but she's still kicking around. What is Duke Mad Duck here has a comment kind of on the Gamrot side. This is Gamrot's last stand. Oliveira's, as we kind of have in the headline there. His first chance to get in the top 5. Yeah, I mean, I agree with all this. This was a circumstantial opportunity for him, and I don't really know where his career was going before this. So you got to take advantage of something like this.
Yeah, I mean, Gamrot's interesting because it's like he hasn't been that active as of late. I don't know if it's him struggling to find fights or just him wanting the upper echelon of the division, but that's always so murky, especially at 55, because we had those big names that always wanted big fights. We had that problem at welterweight with Kamaru and Colby, and those guys just insisted on the big names until they had to fight Joaquin Buckley. Both of them did. Colby obviously lost, Kamaru won, but there's always that reservation in the beginning where you want the big name. So when you're a Gamrot and you're number 7, hovering around that spot, it's always the worst spot to be in because the big names, you look at Justin Gaethje and look at all those guys and what they want. Dustin Poirier was retiring soon. I know they're teammates, but I'm just saying like Poirier was retiring soon and everyone's looking for big fights, right? So when you're around, like when you're in Gamrot's position, it's pretty tough. So him jumping on the opportunity to step in on short notice is great for him.
What do you think of that comment here? The hot take: Gamrot is more deserving of a title shot with a win than these other guys. I mean, resume. If you want to sit here and pick through resume for resume, I mean, maybe we could come up with an argument strong enough for him. But these names, it's just unfortunately not going to go that way for him. I'd be shocked.
Well, yeah, that's why I say recency bias. Like if he goes out there and dominates Charles Oliveira, it says a lot. Like we're going to start putting him in the conversation with those names. So yeah, one fight can change a lot. And if Gamrot, even if he doesn't get the finish, if he can go out there and just absolutely control Charles on the ground, evade any danger from any submission threat, and just look like a title contender. Like Charles is dangerous and he's tough. He's not in, he will make you fight all 5 rounds. Like this is not a guy that you can just relax. Like he can catch you off of his back. He can catch you on the feet. Like it's not easy to dominate him for 5 rounds. So yeah, we'll see what kind of performance he could do.
All right, let's blow through some of these questions. Masters of the Universe Classic. Little off topic, but thoughts on Belal and Ian Gary. I'm curious what you think of this one, Farah. This is a pretty interesting comeback fight for Belal here. And I don't know, Ian Gary seems to be very confident about this matchup too. Do we know if this is 5 rounds or not, or is it 3?
I don't know, but I get the feel that maybe. Yeah. But what was interesting to me was Ian saying that he wanted Sean Brady, but UFC told him it's not going to be a number 1 contender fight. Like, why? And how? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to hear from Brady, but like why? Okay, Belal, I get why beating Belal would be a number 1 contender fight. Sure, he was just a champion. But Sean Brady just dominated Leon Edwards and submitted him. He's on a win streak. Like, how would Sean Brady not be a number 1 contender? So I don't get that. But, you know, Belal was down to fight any of those guys, and so was Ian Gary. So I like the fight. You know, I don't expect Belal to fight Ian the way he fought JDM. I hope he has learned his lesson, but could be interesting to see how Ian's going to deal with the grappling. I would give Ian the edge on the feet. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I haven't taken a deep dive on it yet, but I'm more interested to see what Bilal's game plan is going to be. Like, how is he mentally going to rebound from the way he lost to JDM, because that was crazy to me, the strategy. And I know JDM's camp is going to say what was it? How many takedowns did they end up stuffing? Like 9 or something, but too little, too late of when he implemented. Like you figure out the timing by then. Like by the time he started mixing in the grappling, like they were all slippery. He figured out the timing. It's different. Yeah, it's different when you're trying to fend off somebody from round 1.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup. I'm leaning towards Belal, but just because of the grappling element. But I don't know. We'll see what kind of improvements Ian's made. But I'm surprised they said either of these fights would be a number 1 contender fight, just because I feel like we have so unclear direction where things are going to go after UFC 322. Like if Jack Della Maddalena defeats Islam Makhachev, I could very much see that happening and that being the number one contender fight, because that would put things back in the order of business. Maybe not for Bilal with Jack, obviously. He might need to do a few more, but to try to sit here and know what's going to come around the corner of an Islam title, and I really don't know. Like, I feel like all the options are open.
Kamaru, I feel.
So?
I think so. Because I think at this point, like, all the fighters are looking for the big names on their resume. Yeah. I think that's what all the fighters are trying to do. And Kamaru is very good. Like, when you look at his resume and what this guy has done, forget the losing streak, like the weirdest losing streak anyway, like with a lot of asterisks on it. But like, he bounces back with the win over Joaquin Buckley, and he knows he's sitting in a very good position. I know there's Shafkat, I know there's Sean Brady, I know there's Bilal and Ian fighting, I know all that, but Kamaru knows the value that his name holds on someone's resume. So if you're Islam Makhachev, why wouldn't you want to? Especially that, I know same management, but they've talked about, like, it's not like they're brothers or like training partners or spent significant time like Bilal and Islam did. And I wouldn't see why, especially with the way everybody's thinking right now, all the fighters, like, I wouldn't see why Islam wouldn't want a name like Kamaru on his resume.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can't get the whole Ilya Topuria element of my head of, like, you know, him wanting to move up to a third division. That seems like that would be the only path to this fight if it does happen. Like, Islam's teammate told me at Contender Series that he's probably never coming back to lightweight. So that seems the way to go. But I don't know, like, that would be not great given all the guys in this division who deserve that opportunity. And I want to see these fights. I want to see Islam versus Shavkat. Like, Shavkat needs to win a fight and come back and get healthy, but, like, God, that would be interesting.
Yeah, but like Ilya, like, what, dropping the lightweight title and going to 170 and staying at 170? Like, that seems like nonsense. It again reminds me of like Conor fighting at 170. Like, Conor was never going to stay at 170. Imagine what those guys would have done to him. Like Kamaru and Colby, the bigger, stronger, heavier grapplers. Like, why? I know Ilya is very, very good, but going up to 170, and even if you beat Islam Makhachev, like, what, staying at 170 and having to fight all these way bigger guys? Like, I don't know. It just seems, I don't know. Well, go back
keep Ilya and Islam apart. They're two of your biggest stars. So that's how I see it. It makes sense to me. So interesting times at welterweight, though. And I'm curious when Shavkat will be back and whom they'll put him against, because he definitely needs a fight. Maybe him and Brady fight.
That I feel that's the direction. He was sitting right next to me in the lobby right before I went back to Dubai when I was in Abu Dhabi. I was like, wanted to go over and just ask him the question that everybody wants to know the answer to. What, Shavkat? Okay. Yeah, I was sitting right next. I didn't want to bother him. He was having a coffee. I was like half asleep because I had just got back in the arena like 4 hours ago, and I'm like, "Where have you been, Shavkat?" But like, I never approached him. But yeah, that's the question.
Speaking of title fights here, take it or leave it. Yuri and Carlos are fighting for a belt next. I assume he is implying that's either an interim or a vacant title. I mean, we just saw Alex Pereira did this Q&A in Brazil before weigh-ins there, and he confirmed his foot is broken and he's targeting John Jones at the White House. So it doesn't seem like this Alex Pereira title reign is going to be defending the belt every 3 months like last time. So we might not see him for another 8 months if he's not fighting until the White House. So I don't know, where does that leave the division? Do you just let these guys fight for the belt? Or?
Yeah, I think so. You let them fight for the interim belt because for Alex, he knows, like, there's even, because it seems like chasing after John Jones is not the best thing in the world. Look how that panned out for Tom Aspinall, but there is the winner of Aspinall and Gane, which it would be for a heavyweight title. Like, why would you not take that? That's like an amazing plan B if John Jones is his plan A, you know what I mean? So I think either one of those options would make sense, like him try to make history in a way it hasn't been done before. So yeah, I think that is the way to go. Like, why fight Yuri again? Like, you already beat him twice definitively. Carlos Holberg is deserving, but how much buzz would there be around that when you could get those other options? And heavyweight is just bland. Like, what, the winner of Almeida and Volkov would fight the winner of Gane and Aspinall. I'm sure the winner of Gane and Aspinall would rather fight Alex Pereira. So, yeah.
Are we underestimating a world where John Jones, it's all hypothetical, but he fights Alex Pereira at 205 and challenges for that title? Like, is that something we're not thinking about as a possibility enough? And I mean, to me, that would be the most interesting version of this fight.
Yeah, agreed.
For that over a non-title heavyweight fight. And then, you know, you could make an argument it's for the greatest light heavyweight in history, right? The winner of that fight. So,
100% more intriguing, but I just don't know how like any fighter that just like leaves a weight division and gets up there in weight. Like, that's going to take a lot of like discipline, and he's going to have to start that process from now, really.
He's got plenty of time.
He does, but he has to know it's happening, and the UFC have to trust him. We still have that problem. What was it, like a billion to 1 odds? Well, we know.
Yeah, I know that's tricky, but I feel like that would be the one. Like, you get the most locked in version of John. He has to add that weight cut element. Can't really cut any corners. And
but don't you think that's a lot more risky for him? Like fighting Alex at heavyweight.
Oh yeah,
like,
I think that makes the fight the most interesting for sure. Like that, I think that's the most even playing field if you were going to do this fight.
Yeah, but I don't know if John would do that. Like, I think he
needs his built-in advantages. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's a lot, because the White House is the White House. That's the event, right? You don't need a belt.
Yeah.
So that when we're talking about the White House, like if we're talking about any other pay-per-view, then fine. But this is the White House. Like, it's just going to be about stacking every big star. So yeah, that's the best case scenario for John, is to have Alex come up to heavyweight, where John is way bigger, way stronger, and try to wrestle him down to the ground, as opposed to him depleting himself to a weight class he hasn't made in forever, where Alex would be at his best, and Alex is a champion, and we're challenging that greatest light heavyweight title or label and all that stuff. So that's pretty risky for John, in my opinion, and the layoff and all that.
Yeah, and then I really don't know. I could put it up here. Talk 321. Can address that in a second with Gone, but he does not seem interested at all in fighting the winner of Aspinall and Gone, like Alex Pereira. He hasn't mentioned that, which, again, most historic upside. If he could become first 3-division champion in UFC history, that makes his legacy, untouchable. But I don't know. He doesn't seem overly appealed by that. Do you think that changes after the fight if, Tom Aspinall wins and calls him out or something, or Surreal?
Yeah, 100%. They're both I mean, if Gan can go out there and beat Aspinall, which very, very few people are giving him a chance to do, and I'm sure John Jones is going to be very happy. But yeah, like, it's still a fun fight. Like, Gan can strike. Like, that's a really fun fight between the two of them. And it's, for Pereira, it's going to be about chasing that third UFC belt. So with John, I think John is plan A. I think this is plan B. And like I said, this is like the best plan B anyone could ever have.
This is true. All right, let's scroll here. 321. Any idea if Nasrat Hakparas is fighting at 321? I don't think so. It's 14 days away from weigh-in, so I don't know.
Is he stepping in for someone that we don't know? But
I'm not sure. I think he posted something saying, like, indicating maybe he'd be fighting there, but I'm not sure yet. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate the kind words. Let's talk about this far. I'm curious. I had this kind of in the headline too. Injury excuses for everyone. It's been, am I tripping here, or does it feel to you like more so than ever we are getting the post-loss, whatever it is, for all sorts of people? I mean, we had like 4 in a row this week from, Jan saying the first fight, obviously the Magomed Ankalaev stuff after Alex Pereira had said he was at 40% in the whole lead up to the fight. I don't know. I find this kind of exhausting. I know this has been something that's been present in the fight game since day one, so it's not like anything new, but it does feel like it's, I don't know, coming harder and stronger than ever of late.
Yeah, I mean, we gave Kamaru so much slack for the 30%. Now we're hearing 40%, 50%. We got all kind of percentages now.
The funny one about the Usman one, right, is like he wasn't even saying he was 30%. He was saying he put in like 30% effort, which was the funniest part. And Dana was like, what the hell? Like, that makes sense. But yeah, I thought about that one too. It's still all in the same vein, but yeah. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way a bit.
I mean, Amanda Nunes said it before. It just makes for headlines. She said it before, after the first Pena fight, and seems like she had a point. Alex Pereira said it. Seems like he had a point, but now it's Ankalaev who was hurt. I don't believe it was Ankalaev himself who said it. It was Ali, and then it was DC. And some reporting. So, and then a video that came out, but. Yeah, and then Jan saying it. I guess it's a good selling point for you to try to make a case for a rematch. Try to convince people that you're going to do a lot better. So yeah, I mean, I don't have too much of an issue. I know it's not the best look in the world, and it's always going to be excuses, and then it's like, oh, actually, they had a point. That's how it just ends, right? So, yeah, I mean, now I think it was Kamaru who was saying he wants to see a trilogy between Ankalaev and Pereira because he's like, Ankalaev was hurt and now we want, what do you say, offer all the marbles or like a level playing field or whatnot. So yeah. It just makes for storylines. So I'm not too bothered by it.
Yeah, I think you just gotta be careful, I guess, on your situation. Like when I talked to John Wood on the pod this week, everyone should check that out. He's basically saying like, terrible idea for Jan to say that. The last thing Merab Dvalishvili needs is like bulletin board material to get this guy even more like fired up to beat you up and go in there and do what he does. So yeah, it's all part of the game. You gotta pick and choose your shots though, and feels like that one's gonna not make Merab very happy. But I'm sure it'll be the same in the Umar fight if he rematches him, broken hand.
He hates Umar. He hates Umar. My goodness, like it's fascinating because I understand why. It's because in the lead up to their fight, everyone was saying like you're ducking him, and Merab did say some things that made it seem like, I wouldn't say ducking, but like he would rather fight somebody else. So he had to deal with all that, which seemed to really irk him. He gets the win and he has to keep hearing about Umar again and again and again. So I think in the back of his mind, he knows Umar stylistically is probably his toughest fight in the division. But for him, it's like he just beat him in January. But Merab is fighting so often that now we're talking about like 3 title defenses ago. But I'm sure he just wants to like stop thinking about Umar for a second, and just because you can't really like blame him for taking the next guy in line. Like I like that champion mentality where we saw it with Demetrius Johnson. We're seeing it with Pantoja. Like people are always going to have something to say, right? If he's not fighting the next guy in line, they're going to have something to say. And if he's going back, but they're saying like, oh, he's rematching Jan and not Umar. Like Umar's first got to get past Batista, but yeah.
Yeah. Masters of the Universe Classic. What do you think of the weight misses recently? There's even been some on Contender Series too. Yes, there has been. I think, let's pull it up. I'm sure this is coming out of the back of Simon Oliveira, who I think missed weight by 8 pounds this morning or something like that. That's
144.
Not great. Here, I'll pull up some data. That was the 24th weight miss or 25th weight miss of the year in the UFC. Fighters who have missed weight so far are 6-12, and 6 didn't fight. So that's where we're at with the 24s. And then, I mean, it's down. I'll say this, obviously still several events to go, but 2024, 39 misses, 2023, 41, 2022, 30, 2021, 46, 2020, 46. And we're at 24 here with 2 months and change left in the year. So
I guess COVID played the factor in 2020.
Definitely in those 2 years, that was a tough one for sure. So I don't know. I mean, it feels like it's getting better. I kind of want to, I'm looking towards a story for maybe next year, next June. It'll be 10 years since they switched to the early weigh-in system from what it used to be before. For people who weren't following the sport there, it's like what you see is ceremonial weigh-ins now where they do the face-offs and everything. Like that was the one true weigh-in, and you'd see these guys go up there dead and they'd be facing off with each other. And it was like, oh my God, let alone if they had missed weight and things like that. So this process definitely seems better, and it seems like they're almost at a lot of places trying to turn it from 2 hours to 1 hour into the window to like make that even more compact. I don't know what type of repercussions that could have, but I don't know. Do you feel as we come to an end of 2025 is weight cutting and weight misses one of the UFC's key problems still?
I think it's the same as it kind of always has been. I think for them, they'll care a lot more depending on the magnitude of the fight. I mean, the UFC. So as long as it's like the fights that aren't number one contender fights or championship fights, I think they're not too bothered by it. Sucks, obviously. We just saw Yana Santos talk about it. What did she say? She bought a house or something from all the extra percentages she's making. So she's like, actually, I don't mind it anymore. But yeah, obviously when you win, it's fine. When you lose, it's not the best thing in the world. So, yeah, I don't know. Have we seen it in major fights as of late? Like what have been the major weight misses in terms of like anything title fight related or number one contender? Other than Armin at UFC 311.
Yeah, no. Yeah, right. No, I look through here. It's pretty like the highest profile name, Giga Chikadze, missed weight at one point. The Macy Barber thing, Brian Battle, Kelvin Gastelum, the usual suspects.
The usual suspects. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that
No,
Okay.
that's not counting Contender Series wins. That's just strictly UFC fights. So that's that. Before we put a bow on this far, because I need to get back to running MMA Junkie. Took a little lunch break here, but like you did so much of the post-fight coverage for UFC 320, where you write a lot of stories. You did a great job, listened to a lot of things. Was there something this week that stuck with you the most, whether it was like something one of the winning or losing fighters said, an analysis from someone else about something that happened? Like, was there a story that you did up about a comment that you, I don't know, resonated with you the most this week?
I mean, it was interesting. Corey Sandhagen's second statement saying Merab is beatable. I kind of understand what he's saying. It's like he is, but he's not, if that makes sense. Because it's not like when you look at Ilya, you look at his technique and you're like, he doesn't get hit much. Like he's very, like, you know what I mean? Like he's got so much power in that. Merab, you don't really say that. Like if you get a casual to watch Merab, and ask him if they think he's beatable, they'll tell you, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll be like, yeah, this guy could probably catch him. This guy. But man, it's just the way Merab fights. It's like he's not the most technical in the world and stuff. And O'Malley's like, yeah, I'm the only one who can beat him. Like if you need to catch him. I mean, if you're saying the only way you're going to lose is getting caught, that's a pretty good place to be, right? Like you're basically saying he can only lose by a lucky punch. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you look at Merab and it's just it's pretty crazy. Like it's kind of like Pantoja as well. Pantoja is another one of those guys where he looks beatable in certain points of a fight. Like, he doesn't look completely dominant. Like he gets hit. He's kind of charging in with his head sometimes and stuff. So you look at them fight and you're like, yeah, like someone can catch them, like they're beatable. But then the pace they put, the confidence they have in their overall game, it's pretty damn impressive. And those two champions are the ones that have been, of course, Ilya as well. But I mean, in the point I'm trying to make, like those two guys just look like they are beatable, but in a way they're not.
Assuming Merab doesn't fight again, say this is his year, doesn't get a December fight, is he already written in as your fighter of the year, or do you write it in pencil in case Jack Del Maddalena beats Islam Makhachev?
Tricky. Depends how he beats Islam. No, but beating Islam is like beating Islam, right? Like It doesn't matter how you beat him. Outlasting Islam is very impressive too. Like he's not. Yeah.
I thought it was a lock for Merab, and then now I'm like, okay, I'm not so sure. I mean, it was the same thing with Alex Pereira last year. I was like, hey, he did 3 title defenses. This has never been done in like 8 or 9 years. Only the 7th fighter to do it, and then Ilya came in and stole the vote for a lot of people. So I don't know if Jack is capable of doing that, but it's still interesting.
Yeah, well, maybe Merab should fight a 4th time then, so at least he can make the argument better. But yeah, beating Islam in any type of way is impressive. So I don't like. It doesn't really need to. No, if anything, beating him by decision would be more impressive than catching him by knockout.
Yeah, here, let's do one more here from Masters of the Universe Classic, since he's been so kind in the comments here. Is there someone to become my first-time champ next year? Who would you put your money on? I mean, if we look through the possibilities and the divisions here. Joshua Van will be this year. Bantamweight, anyone I guess would be a first-time champ. If or no, Jan would be a 2-time. Yeah. I don't really see anyone at bantamweight. Featherweight,
Umar.
Yeah, maybe Umar. Featherweight, there could be pretty much anyone there in that top 4. Depends who gets it. Lightweight, Armin, possibly. Whoever, Patty. Gaethje, whoever gets the shot, I guess, even though I'm not picking any of those guys to beat Ilya.
No.
Welterweight wouldn't be Islam his first time, but you never know. He fights a Sean Brady. He fights Shavkat. Could be up there.
Jack's another guy that I feel like is beatable, but he is and he's not, if that makes sense. Because those guys aren't necessarily in cruise control the entire fight. Like they're not one of those guys. Like if you're a diehard fan of these guys, they make you like really worry when you watch them fight, if that makes sense. Like they're not like in cruise control or absolutely dominant like we saw in the other rings of like GSP minus getting caught by a Condit kick or Anderson Silva. Like those guys, when they were fighting, it's like you kind of almost knew the outcome. Whereas these guys, it's like there's a certain point in the fight where they're getting hit, where they're, yeah. So I don't know. Like Jack's another one of those guys, but these guys are fighters. That's what it is. That's what makes them so good. It's not necessarily that they'll outstrike you every time or out. Well, I mean, Rob just did against Corey Sandhagen after he hurt him, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, What was it? Would his count? Oh no,
No,
you're
I
talking about
think it'd be the
UFC.
first time ever being a champion, but
Period. Okay.
we will get one in a few short weeks here when Verna Jandiroba and Mackenzie Dern crown a new strawweight champion. So there's your answer for this year, and you'll be out there, right, Farah? We got a couple fight weeks for both of us coming up. I got Vancouver around the corner here, and then it's your time to shine out there in Abu Dhabi. So it's going to be a good couple weeks. We'll try to do this again, I guess, if it fits the schedule with you out there and me doing my thing. Sure. But a lot of fun as always. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy this weekend of the rain and UFC Vancouver coverage coming to MMA Junkie. And we'll do a podcast here on the channel at some point. And yeah, make sure to check out the one I just did with Laura Sanko and John Wood. I was operating at 50%, I think, doing that podcast. That was my excuse. I wasn't feeling my best.
Excuses.
All right. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for your time. Appreciate everyone who engaged with us today. And yeah, we'll be back to do more of these. So hope everyone has a great Friday and a great weekend. And we'll talk to you all soon.